Hello everybody and welcome back to the Costume Corpsman channel. I am your host, the Costume Corpsman. As promised, this is the episode right where I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks on how to build a prop. Now, this prop is not going to be usable. It's just going to be a conglomeration into an abomination that's basically just going to show you different techniques that you can use to make sure that you do not have things that fall off your prop, or maybe they have a failure or something like that. So while I'm building it, don't go, what's the purpose of, why is he putting that? And trust me, I completely and totally get it. I had to put a little bit of thought into this one. I actually did a couple and they failed, and it wasted a whole lot of time in filming. So what I've done now is I basically got it down to like three main pieces of a utilitarian advice that I'm going to be able to give you. And so hopefully this will be a centralized way of showing you a couple of processes that will help you. And I hope that it's informative, so we're going to get right into it, and I hope you enjoy what you see today. All right, everybody, so in this first part, we're going to talk about gluing pieces together for your props. Now, as you see here, I've got a scrap piece of foam. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe a shade thicker. And we are going to glue these two edges together. Now we're going to use rubber cement or contact cement that does a permanent bond on contact. I got this at Walmart, I think. It was like a few dollars, wasn't all that much. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you. So when you put pieces together, especially parts, if you're making something cylindrical like this is, there's going to be pressure on it from the get-go. Now, as you see, I'm just putting a very light coat because, like I mentioned in previous videos, when it comes to contact cement or rubber cement, you don't need a whole lot, just enough to get it on there and create a bond. And so you always want to give it a few moments so it can get tacky, and the thinner that you put it on there, the quicker it'll get to that consistency. So this will take a few minutes. So I'm going to turn off the camera for a moment. We're going to come back once it gets to that point, and then I'm going to start putting it together and showing you how it is. So just stand by for a moment. All right, so it's been a few minutes. I don't know if you can see, but it's gotten a little tackier. So what we do is now we just line up the edges, and we just start pressing them together. And you want to take your time with it, and you want to make sure that it's even and clean when you press them together. Now, take your time, there's no rush in this. So it's going to be smooth. And as you see, voila, and peanut butter jelly sandwiches we've made very simply. And you want to take a few moments and continue to press, because not all of it is going to set as evenly as you would like it to. You're always going to have a couple of pieces and points that are just going to Boop, boop. There we go. So now once that is done, you see here I got this one little point right here that wants to be a little bit of a pain in the butt right there. So that's the type of thing that you want to avoid. But since it's still a little wet, you can manipulate it. Now another thing is that, let's say like you do this and you have an issue like this, and let's say you're one of those people who are an absolute perfectionist, okay, and this just irks you. You can just take a piece of sandpaper and you can actually just very lightly, very fine grit sandpaper, and you can just take it and just sand that down just a little bit until it's as smooth as you want it. But once again, this wasn't to show you how to be a perfectionist. This was to show you how to do it. Now, the reason why I did that was because I wanted to show you how to do it, at least in a way that will be beneficial to you, but also to go over another thing, and that is on the inside. Let's see if I can let me get my phone out over here so we can have some light, and we'll go from there. So on the inside, as you see here, let's get that up close. So you see that it's pretty much in there. Now, this contact cement will work and will hold on there. And as long as you are not, as long as this doesn't become the stressor point, in other words, let's say this was supposed to be oval, okay? This will hold probably close to forever. But if you're going to have movement, things that are going to, pull, what I would recommend is taking another piece, let's say like this part up here, which was extra, so we're just going to never, ever, ever, ever use scissors on foam on real projects. And the reason why you don't is because it always makes it uneven. So you always want to use things like straight edge blades, like box cutters, or those fabric rollers that you see that cuts fabric. Those are the things that you want to use. But back to what I was saying, if you're going to have a piece like this, that right where this part right here is going to come under a lot of stress, and it's going to be bent, like I've got this one right here, and now as you see, it's holding really well. Contact cement is great, but as you see here, it's already starting to pull apart a little bit. And what you can do is you can just take a few moments and just push it back together. And as long as you stay attentive to it for about the next 10 to 15 minutes while it finishes setting and curing, it's going to be really good. But like I said, if you're one of those people that worry, like I am, because I do not want your cosplays to have issues, you can take a strip of spare foam, and you're probably going to have a good bit of it. And what you can do is with the contact cement, once again, putting on a thin layer. And like I said, this is the Abomination. This is not supposed to be pretty. This isn't supposed to be cute. It's not even supposed to be functional. It's just supposed to show you a couple of things here. And you can apply it to the inside part and just lay it right across the seam for extra reinforcement, just like I'm doing here. And you can set it right on there, just like that. especially on prop pieces. Now, when it comes to armor and things like that, pieces that you're going to have your arm in or anything like that, this might be a little bit more difficult to do for comfortability. But if you're using the foam, it's really not all that uncomfortable. So you just put in that extra piece, and that will reinforce the seam on the inside and help take some of that stress off of it all the way around, and also give it extra reinforcement. So, you know, I'm going to show you the other two techniques. I'm going to let that sit for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the next little section. All right, everybody, welcome back. So in this next section here, we're going to talk about how to mount things like tubes into your cosplay. And the reason why we're going to talk about this is because whether this was going to be, let's say, like a hammer, or maybe you're making a gun, a type of prop gun, or some other type of piece, I want to show you a couple of techniques to help you be able to put it in properly and not have issues. So what I did was I took the pipe that I'm using. This is just a little aluminum pipe that came off of, I'm not entirely sure what it came off of, but once again, got it at Goodwill. And what I did was I pressed it into the foam so I could get a good idea of the shape. And now I'm going to use an X-Acto knife with a new blade on it, and I've already started. I did about 1/4 of it, and now I am going to continue to just cut around this hole that I imprinted using the end of that tube until it comes out. And then there we go. So now that I've done that, the tube is going to mostly fit in there. And there we go. Now, what most cosplayers do at this point, you've got your tube in there, and so what most do is they just glue it, like right around here. They use like hot glue, and they call it a day. Not a good idea. What I recommend, and once again, this is all recommendations from me. You don't have to listen to anything that old Costume tells you. I'm just trying to help you. But I recommend you take another little piece and cut out a little piece like this. It doesn't have to be pretty, and the reason why it doesn't is because no one's going to see it. Okay? Alright, so, and then you want to cut a little groove into it. Okay? Just enough so you can stick the end of the pipe into that. You don't want to go all the way through. What you're doing is you want to be able to stick the end of the pipe into the material like that. So it sort of like makes a cap. You want to take a little bit of your contact cement and you want to put it around the edges. Just get it all glooped in there. Gloop, 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 gloop. And then you want to stick the end of your pipe in. Alright, like that. And then you're going to put that end piece right onto the end of your pipe inside. Okay, just like that. And then you're going to take some rubber cement all right, and then you are going to set it exactly where you want it on the inside, and you're going to rub it around a little bit. So now you have, see that reflection showing some of that contact cement that got stuck right there? And now we're going to let this sit for a few moments. And the reason why this technique is good is, so now the rubber cement is going to adhere to the tube. Then the tube is going, on that little end cap, is going to secure itself right on the inside of your material. And it is going to allow this tube to now become stabilized. So instead of it just having one part, which is generally right here, that is what's securing it, now you've got this stabilization point inside, right there, that keeps it from coming out. So I've seen a lot of individuals make like Harley Quinn costumes, and they make those ginormous hammers, you know, and they're carrying them around, and generally the hammer is made out of foam like this, and they've got the handle in, and something always happens. The handle winds up coming loose, it falls out, or it just does it because what they do is they cut the hole in it, they stick the tube or the pipe in, or the dowel rod, depending upon what it is that they use, and they glue it right here. And that's it. That's all that there is. So with this technique, though, not only do you have the handle secured securely inside on the inside right here, but you can also now, if you wish to use hot glue or use some more cement or whatever, you can do that now, and you've got this point set. And you don't even have to glue this point, because this point is pretty tight, but I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the inside before we move on to the next section, which is going to be what happens when you're done with a couple of pieces and you attach them to another piece. All right, everybody, welcome back to the last part. Now, like I said previously, this is going to be the part of right where we're going to attach what we've made to another part that we may or may not have made. And like I've said before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some sandpaper, and I am just going to rough up this entire section here, just like that. So I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see if we can maybe get a little bit of focus on that. There we go. So as you can see, there we go. All right, now let's get back over here. There we go. All right, yeah, I'm getting better at this adjusting thing, but not so good. So now what we're going to do is we are going to, another tip is, if you're going to make pieces that have these seams and you don't need them to be the pressure points, those should be the parts that you attach, so they're not so obvious once you paint and everything. So now we're going to take some of the cement here. Now on pieces like this, I like to use a lot of the contact, and you'll see why. So now I'm going to take this part and I'm going to press it on there, and then I've got not only do I have that part there, but now I also have it on here. So now I can get a better idea of the area that I can do this with right here. Just like that. All right. And So we're going to let this set for a few minutes and I'll be back. Alright everybody, now that it's pretty much set, we're just going to attach it right on top of each other there. And we're just going to apply even pressure, just like that, allowing those 2 points of contact cement to get on there. And now we have, there we go, we got a little handheld rocket launcher. Alright, so we're going to let that set for a few minutes and we're going to wrap this up and we're going to do our outro, and then that'll be it for this episode. Alright everyone, that's it for this episode. As you can see, the Abomination is pretty well put together. And that's pretty much it. So I want to thank you all for joining me on this episode. I hope you found it sort of helpful with a few tips. It's not as dynamic as I was thinking about making it, but like I said, I had filmed a couple of things and it just didn't seem like it was going to work out. So I hope this one was good for you and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm thinking in my next episode, I might go over tape. When to use it, how to use it, why to use it, and what type to use. So I ask you to come back and watch that episode. And well, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I'm the Costume Corpsman. This channel is dedicated to helping costumers and cosplayers avoid needing individuals like me to repair costumes at events. I look forward to talking to you again. Please like and subscribe and click that bell for notifications when I have new videos. Until next time, everyone have a great day.